Well, after a late start, I'm finally getting around to creating some brush piles from these trees that we took out last fall because they were under the power lines, and they were there is actually a garden bed right in there, and we had to clear the way to the propane tank. So we just decided to get to rip out the big bush that was at the propane tank. It was easier to come up the road because this is our septic system right in here, so we can't drive over it. So I had to go out and around and up, and these have been blocking the light and the garden there along, and easily stole about 10 feet of the field as they were growing out. So we just tore them out with the excavator, made a big messy pile here. So now today's task is to cut through here, untangle this, and make some brush piles, and hopefully get to chipping. I may just start chipping before I'm done, because for me the chipping is the fun part. The rest of this is work. I will recommend making piles with all your the butt end of the limbs facing the same way. It just makes chipping faster. You're not burning diesel. You don't have to listen to the sound of the chipper whine. You just load them in and get them chipped. Anything else, anything like this, you're just untangling a mess of pickup sticks. So I had a little trouble getting the chainsaw started. I did a little bit of repair on it yesterday. The oiler wasn't oiling. The hose is brittle, so it's not. I managed to reattach it, but it's too brittle. I'm gonna have to replace it to the oiler. But I made sure that was all the oiler. I thought the oiler was broken, but fortunately it was just a hose. But I had to dig down in, and I put in a new clutch and some repair parts, and got a brand new chain on it because the other one had stretched too far because the oiler wasn't working. So it took me a while to get that messed around between yesterday and today. So I'm actually out here a lot later than I wanted to be. I'm just gonna get up. Don't know if I said this is black locust, so where I can I'm gonna save some fence posts because they're rot resistant, but they have these vicious thorns, and I don't have leather gloves today, so I don't even know where I can find a pair, maybe my welding gloves, but I'm just gonna suffer through for the moment. They are pretty brutal thorns. All right, this isn't going well. I think that the blades are dull. I don't remember when I put this away at the end of the year. It's leaving a lot of big stringy stuff. This chip is looking good. The small stuff is great. That'd be good for bedding, but the big stringy stuff and how hard I am fighting it to go through. So I'm gonna have to open this up and look at the blades. I don't have any new ones. These are reversible, so we'll see. I don't remember if neighbor's dogs. I don't remember if I've used both sides of these or not. I know I bought a new set at the beginning of last year. See this keeper? This is why I have a keeper on these pins, because sometimes I forget and they come out. These pins are kind of proprietary and I don't like to lose them. They work well, but having a little chain keeper on there works. So I don't lose the pins. So yeah, I'm gonna open this up, check the state of the blades, because this is not chipping as well. I would have expected to be completely done with the pile, which I got most of it, but it won't really chip that. I'm fighting stuff like that. Stuff should just blitz right through. I know I'm running this at an idle because I'm on economy mode, but it's not bogging down or anything. It's just not chipping well. So I'm gonna look into the blades. All right, open it up, tip the blade there. Here's the teeth, blades here. And a couple of them, like this one, are pretty hammered. You can see how uneven that is. This is maybe a better idea. You can see all those chips and nicks in there. That one's by far the worst one. This one here shows some signs of heating and a bit of rust, but otherwise, you know, not horrific. Not horrific, but also not right. So, and it doesn't look like I've used the second side. It's hard to tell in here whether whether the back edge has been used. I don't think so. So the big problem now is, though, these hex head bolts don't like to come loose. Fortunately, I put new hardware in here in the last time I used it, so it shouldn't be horrifically bad. But I also realized I forgot to give this a grease before I started using it. So maybe it was a good idea to stop. Here's a better example of the teeth. You can see those little ridges and notches there. That's the dull side. Sharp side has none of that. A little bit of dirt there, but none of that. So I just got to flip the teeth around and it should chip better. Now, I don't know why these are so dull, and they probably would have chipped softwood just fine, but all the pine and spruce in the forest probably chipped. It's black locust is really hard. So I'm going to flip these around and hopefully it goes better. And fortunately, I don't have a ton of the hardwoods to do. And this isn't necessarily green. It's had the winter to dry out. So, yeah, these nicks and things are enough to slow things down for sure. All right, that's it. I'm done. I've reversed all 4 blades, so the sharp edge is out. This unit has a really nice little keeper pin here to stop it from rotating. You just move it in and out. It keeps the flywheel locked while you change the blades. So that was actually probably the easiest time I've had changing the blades on this thing. Now maybe it's because a year ago basically, I replaced the blades, new hardware. So the old they're supposed to change the bolts and nuts, elastic stop nuts, every time you change the blade. I don't know. I bought this used, and I'd had 2 sets of blades, a used set, 2 or 3 sets of blades. There was the set that was on it, which I had to reverse in order to start chipping because they beat the heck out of the ones that were on there. And then there was a set that they'd already burnt through, and there was a set that had gone to the sharpener and come back. And these blades, you can see they don't have a lot of meat left, so you can't sharpen them a ton before they won't fit on here well anymore. If you know, to grind an 1/8 inch off of each blade starts to pull this back quite a bit, and it relies on it seating back here to keep from shifting, as to bear the weight here, the pressure here. So you don't have an awful lot of sharpening before the blades are useless on this style of blade on this machine. So the sets that came with it were shot, so I ordered a new set. Now I hope this lasts me this year, because I don't do a lot of chipping right now. Certainly during the summer I rarely chip, because we basically use the chip for the bedding, and so I'll chip enough to fill the bedding house. I'll chip enough to fill the bedding house over the summer so that we have it there in the fall An electric car just drove in. I had no idea it was here. Anyway, so hang on. Okay, they didn't look at me. She must be pissed. I didn't realize they were here. So I shouldn't have a ton to chip, and I'm mostly softwood, so as long as I don't hit a stone, these should last me, because these are this is a Canadian machine, Woodland Mills 8-inch chipper. Bought it used years ago. It's a dang good chipper. I'd actually like to have a bigger chipper now that I got the bigger tractor. So hopefully hopefully flipping the blades will do it. The blades come out of Canada, so until tariffs go away, until this nonsense is done with, I'm going to try to avoid having to spend the money on them, because they weren't cheap to begin with. But yeah, replacing them, I'll have to get new hardware. I am going to grease this now. While I'm at it, I can get to this Zerk here and this one here easier. So I'm going to grab the grease gun, give this a quick lube, and hopefully get back to it before milking. Down here checking on the cows before milking. Yesterday, Dulcie, who's now in the hospital pen, could not get up. Insert the video here where she was, Mabel churned the cows, which caused Luna to get up and move along the rail, and Dulcie was at the outside edge facing the rail. She got moved, couldn't get up, frog marched herself out of the barn, and when we found her a little bit later, she was down in the mud and couldn't get up. She did eventually get up while we were busy. We put wood chips around her. We did a lot of stuff to try and get her up. She could get up on her own, and I immediately walked her back in the barn and put her in the pen. Now, a week ago Monday, it's Sunday today, so not quite a week, she was here outside the pen. She'd been sleeping there. We went to get her to milk. She couldn't get up. We called the vet, which was an expensive proposition because it was an emergency call, because I made the mistake of saying we had a down cow. He came as soon as he could, did some blood work, which we're still waiting on the results for, gave her some vitamins, couldn't really see anything wrong with her, and by then she was standing. She's eating normally, she's not inappetent, she devours her food, she's drinking plenty. I should check her water. Just down here, I gotta take care of her. She's one of the first that gets milked. So anyway, we couldn't find anything wrong with her. We kept her in the pen for a couple days, and then we let her back out, and she seemed to be fine until yesterday. Her daughter, Dory, is acting a little weird. Last couple days, she inhaled a bunch of food and choked. And now we're wondering if that isn't the symptom of something else going on with her. And we're keeping an eye on her. This hasn't been an easy transition from winter into spring with the cows, with Luna there. Can't really see, the screen's dirty. Sun's the wrong way. Luna had a bad case of mastitis, and we had to give her antibiotics and treat her. She had a fever. Vet came out for her. We've had the vet out for Lana at the ring, because Lana calved twins, and then it was paralyzed with her leg. That's last year we didn't see the vet at all. Last year we had literally no issues. Wow, if you hear that, the wind is just howling today. Otherwise, it'd be a really beautiful day, but that wind will cut you in half. All right, so we're gonna get set up and get ready to milk these cows. I gotta feed Dulcie. Well, Dulcie got up with a little bit of trouble, but not anything nearly like yesterday, so that's good. We're just gonna keep her in the pen here. I'll take her out for milking. We'll clean the pen. Everything seems to be normal with her, other than the fact that was struggling. And it's easier in there because it's drier, there's wood chip, it's not muddy, and there aren't cows to fight. So keep her in there until we're sure. We did change the cow's ration based on what the vet was saying, especially for the cows that are fresh in milk. Dulcie tends to really put everything into her bag, as it were. It really pumps out the milk, so that causes a problem. I won't film this. I'm trimming the cows' backs, just shaving the top side of their backs to help them keep cool. Now that it's warm, it's gonna be 62 today. We're well above freezing at night, so we're just doing this annually. I also like to, and I've done this earlier, didn't film it, trim their tails. Gets all the manure and mud clots from mud season off of their tails, so we're not dealing with that while we're milking. But also as soon as they're out on grass and their manure becomes really loose because of the grass, it won't cling to their tail as much, because there's nothing worse getting whacked in the face with a tail full of wet green manure. So yeah, I just do a couple of strips like that. It just helps them blow their coat faster, keeps them cooler. Something we've been doing for a couple years now. We do it here in the parlor. It makes a mess, but it's just easier. Well, I'm down here at the river. Our cove is right there, and I'm at this series of deep ravines. There's one behind me where a tree had fallen down in, and there's another one on this side coming down, and this other one has been a dump. A lot of tin, pails and chicken wire and rusty metal. It's quite a ways from the house. I mean, it's a long way down in here to the river, and they chose this place of all places to bring their garbage and chuck it. I can see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different metal containers down in there, and some a lot of wire, a lot of chicken wire and turkey wire and stuff, galvanized. Looks like we're a massively low tide out there. Anyway, these ravines are right on the edge of our property down here. I've got flagging tape here behind me. Now, somewhere out here there had been a pin, and I don't know where that pin is anymore. I found it once. I think it's over on that little peninsula there. I found it once, and I didn't mark it well enough. And last time I was down here following this flagging, I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it at all. I've just cut the line down here. This side isn't easy to follow, and there's a lot more down trees from this winter than I recall from the fall when I mapped out these lines. So yeah, I've got to come back all through there. I've got to thin. I probably didn't do as good a job on this line just now as I did on the other side, because like I said, this line, there is a stone wall, fortunately, during most of it, and there aren't a lot of trees to clear on that, but either side of the flagging, I kind of lost my way. So I'm going to call my forester, get him in here, and get a plan for the next stage. I was blessed enough to find an owl pellet. Unfortunately, I don't have a good way of bringing it back home. And also, well, I picked up the owl pellet. I found this old metal artifact. I would say that's part of a brake drum to an old wagon or something. Don't know. It's definitely been broken, because you can see a broken edge right there. I don't know what that was. Pretty slick. Well, it is April 23rd, I think, today. Wednesday, whatever that day is. I am down in the forest grass measuring. I'm actually measuring all the fields again. It's been 11 days since I've taken a measurement. I can visually see that there is more grass. It is growing. We are finally getting some days. It's 62 today. Nights are above freezing. We've had rain, but not too much. And a couple of warm sunny days. should help kick off the grass. I'm looking to be able to put the cows out somewhere over there maybe next week. We'll probably just start the cows out on half a day or a couple hours. Sorry, I just found one of the cow's horn protectors from last summer. We are running out of silage. I need to get them out, but I don't want to put them out too early. But I also want to put them out at the right time. So what I've found is with measuring the fields, the grass. Oh, look, pig skull. Measuring the grass is giving me a little bit of insight into how the fields grow, how they recover, what the weather does, because I can also go back. The GPS sensor on here records time, location, date, and temperature. So if I ever needed to know the nitty-gritty of the grass growth and when it was growing and what it was doing, then I can go back and look at the timestamps and the temperature. But we did lose. I had to come down here this week and deal with this. Massive poplar tree fell over. We've lost a couple other little trees. Some other ones need taken down. We talked about this with the forester yesterday. So I got to come down and clear this stuff out of here so the cows can come down here and graze safely. This side is obviously growing more slowly than the other side, but there is still a good amount of cover. So I'll insert some screenshots next. What we want to see is the average daily growth of the grass at or exceeding the cow's daily consumption. And so we're waiting for those two lines to intersect, and then I can be sure that I can get the cows out and start grazing them with enough grass ahead of them. And I also want to see, the report gives me the days of cover ahead of grazing, so how many days I have that I can graze the cows. So when all that aligns, then I will commit to grazing the cows. And I'm hoping, now we had them out at about the 22nd of May last year. Insert the video here, and we'll see. And I don't necessarily want to put the cows out in the same field that we did last year, because it does help to vary the placement, which end of the field the cows graze first, and the rotation of the fields, so that break up. Because if the cows, and I did this, I got locked in a few years ago. It was totally my fault. I knew better. I was working off the farm, but I would send the cows out to graze the main field. These fields weren't renovated, and we had less cows too, but we'd always graze from one end of the field to the other. Same for 2 or 3 years I did it that way. And last year or the year before, I noticed, wait a minute, we're starting to lose species composition in the field. The number and diversity of the types of grasses that were growing and the plants in the field were diminishing. And that's because we were overgrazing them, basically. Not really, but grazing them out in such a way that they weren't expressing themselves later in the summer, because they're being grazed from the same direction, the same way, at the same time every year. By alternating and flip-flopping where the cows graze each year to start with in the spring, it helps break up that cycle, and certain grasses can grow better. They can get more sun. They can reclaim their energy and their root structure. So that this year we'll be grazing the cows headed towards the road, rather in the main field, rather than away from the road. So that's also what I'm looking, what this measuring tool helps with. And likewise, it will show me which fields I can graze when, whether there's enough grass cover, how I can do it. I need to improve some areas that I'm hoping to get to this week. I need to remove some trees here where they're grazing. So yeah, out measuring grass today. But also what I'm going to do is I took a walk in the forest with the forester yesterday. So we identified the first of the areas that I'm going to start thinning. And fortunately, I've already done a lot of the work. We're going to change. He looked over the stand and saw that the approach that I've had two foresters. One that developed the forestry management plan, which is almost up. They have about a 10-year lifespan, and he did that in 2016. So next year it will become obsolete. So the new forester will take over and create the new plan. The new forester is giving me a different direction. We're going to start managing the forest differently. I had thought, given the instructions from the first forester, that all this dense, thin, small sapling stuff needed to come out, except for the best and biggest examples of it. Oh, geez, just saw a beautiful little hawk take off over there through the woods right where I'm about to go. So all this stuff, I would leave the pines and take out a lot of the fir, but that in that forest would be a section of the forest would be almost an endless task. Instead, what we're going to do, I'm going to be looking up and take out anything like this tree, which is a good example of what to leave actually. But this tree here is one to take out. It branches, it's at the end of its life, it's got some damage. By removing it, it will let the smaller trees around it grow better and get more sunlight. So we're going to tackle the dead, damaged, and dying trees in that forest, target them. We picked out half dozen trees to cut initially, and that should clear the first of the 6-acre lots. And there'll be bigger trees. They'll be for firewood, for lumber at the mill, with the idea of improving the trees that are left behind because they'll get more sunlight, more energy, they'll grow better. So the idea is, over the next 10 years, we will have more harvestable timber. So that's a relief to me, because I thought that I had all of this brush to cut out. Instead, the new forester is like, no, that's just going to die. It's going to go by the wayside, or it will improve, but the best species will take off, the healthiest ones will thrive, and the other ones will go away, and I won't have to do anything. So that's the new program. And since I'm down here at this end of the world, I am going to use the measuring stick and the GPS mapping tool. I'm going to go across the river, across the bridge here, and I'm going to mark out so I know how big, because we need 3 6-acre parcels, so 18 acres total. They don't have to be contiguous. They just have to be within the forested section of the property. So I'm going to go mark out where the boundaries are. I already have this forest area mapped out, 22 acres of it. And I just want to see on the map where I am. And the GPS should help me do that. Down here in the forest, chainsaw in hand, trimming the trail behind me and over the ford. And that way, we have a group coming to do a seaweed walk next week, and there were several trees down over the road, the pathway, not really a road. And here, I have to build a rock ford to get through this ditch. You can't see it on the camera, but it's about 8 feet deep, and we need to make it so the water can flow through it and a tractor skidder can get over it. I'll be thinning this section of the forest later this month, and throughout the summer taking some of these birch down up there and stuff. So I want to have access to everything. I got to get this ford done by the end of the year. So I'm just taking some time. It's taking about an hour just to walk the trail. I found the trees down yesterday. So get them cleared. I still got to come through here with a pair of loppers and lop some brush. Make it nice. We don't want to park it out and make it too nice, but for the group that's coming down, I don't know, it's a mixed group, mixed ages, to learn about seaweed at the river. next Tuesday, I think. So I am back out on a very warm and sunny day, getting back to chipping after probably, I don't know, almost a week of not being down doing this. Last we met, I was changing the knives on the chipper, and I am happy to say that solved all my issues. It was just the other side was dull, and it took the rest of the pile I had that day and fired it right through. So I'll show you what it's like when it's actually working correctly. We'll throw some bigger chunks through in a minute. There are two things that have kept me from finishing this job, and that is we have two events next week, Monday and Tuesday, that we've been prepping for. I've had to go to the river twice now to clear the trail for the second Tuesday's walk. We're having it's Seaweed Week next week. We make a signature award-winning rock wheat, which is a cheese, a soft ripened bloomy rind cheese with a ribbon of dried seaweed in it, and that's being featured. And then we're doing this seaweed walk. Monday, we've got 20 people coming for a climate series, a panel discussion. We're going to hold it in the barn, and then we're going to walk the farm and talk about some of the climate smart practices that I've addressed here and some of the issues we're currently having and how I'm planning on dealing with that going forward.